October, Barra Jacks box. Right, we want you to be safe on the water this month. So all boxes do have these cool little face masks. COVID, well, you're safe with your Tackle Club face mask. And actually, here's one I prepared earlier because straight out of the packet, if you've got a little head like mine, then it may not fit. But cool thing is you just tie a couple knots into the edges and it's pretty much a one size fits most. So you can feel like the nemesis of Batman, Bane himself, while you're out on the water. Okay, but let's jump into the lures because we've got a sick little box this month. I'm gonna start off early morning. You're heading out, you're keen as, tides are perfect, you've got some great looking snags up the river, and you're gonna throw on your top water. So what do you got? You got your Tango prop to start off with. This thing just makes a ruckus. It's a twin prop system, so it's got one at the front, one at the back, and straight away you'll also notice it's got super strong trebles on it. Now this is River to Sea lure, and River to Sea have an awesome name in Australia and throughout the whole world. But early morning you're going to chuck this one on, being a surface lure, and you're just going to cast it out and just rip it and pause, rip it and pause. Because of those propellers on it, it's just going to spit out a bunch of water and just make it look like essentially there's a bunch of bait fish fleeing or a bunch of prawns skipping, and this can just draw in some awesome surface hits. Fished with these before for jacks, and they certainly are a great little lure. Now, if you don't want to do the rip and pause, you can also just do the constant retrieve, constant slow roll, and it'll just do its thing, messing up the water, gaining some interest, or you can do the slow roll and pause. But my favorite way to fish it is like a twitch or a rip pause. And then obviously as that sun comes up higher and the fish start to retreat a little bit deeper, then you're probably going to chuck on something like your Vivid Cruise 150. So these are a big T-tail, paddle tail, soft plastic swim bait with a cool little mechanism underneath the belly that entails a little magnet that actually holds the hook a little bit further up, meaning you're going to be a little bit more snag resistant. So you can fish these across some laydown if you've got some fallen timber. Swim it along that, great option for that, and you can absolutely crack some big Barra Jacks on them. Otherwise, if you want a more weedless presentation for maybe skipping up underneath some overhangs, working along some oyster racks, pontoons, big rocks, you know, just heavier timber, stuff that you may not want to chuck something in there that's got hooks hanging off all over it, then you've got your Chase Baits Rip Snorter. So this is a weedless vibe lure. And it does have this cool little spinner under the belly as well, so it is going to create a little bit of flash and vibration, which can help if the waters you're fishing are a little bit dirty. Now if the waters are clean, that flash is just going to be seen from a mile away. Being a vibe as well, you can work it vertically, but I'm just going to use just to pelt long casts out, maybe along a rock wall, or if you've got to lay down again, work it along that, probably a medium to fast roll. If you're fishing some gutters in the salt with outgoing or incoming tide, look for those gutters coming down where the water's just ripping through. Cast it into there and hop it off the bottom. Along the bottom you can get some good barra fishing it that way too. So that's the Chase Baits Rip Snorter. Moving on to one of my favourite, if not my #1 favourite soft plastics to fish. These are the Fish Arrow Flash J Shad. Now these are the new J Shad Plus models. They're essentially like a hybrid, because Fish Arrow always had the bigger soft plastics with the big T-tail, paddle tail, and then the smaller plastics for like your bass and stuff had this tiny little paddle tail on them. So they've made a hybrid between the two, where it's like a medium-sized plastic with that big T-tail, paddle tail on the back, and these are absolutely dynamite if you haven't fished with them before. So these do have that sexy foil finish on the inside, which just adds a bit of flash and stuff as this thing's kicking around in the water, darting around. But to go with it, Gulp gel. If you haven't fished with Gulp plastics before, I don't know what you're doing, you've lost it. But Gulp has this awesome scent in it that just entices fish and gets them to bite. If they're not hungry, it gets them interested. So squeeze a bit of this onto your soft plastic and you're for sure in for a winner. I'll be probably rigging half of these up on a weedless setup and the other half just on a standard jig head. So if I'm fishing more open structure, then I'll fish just with the normal jig head, maybe go a heavier one so you can work it deeper. Or if I'm going to be working structure, I'll chuck on the weedless one, which is also fantastic for skip casting, getting up underneath pontoons or up underneath overhanging mangroves and then burning it back out again, because these are one of the easiest plastics to learn to skip on, without a doubt. And that's it for the BARRA JACKS box this month. So you've got your cool face mask, you've got your Chase Baits Rip Snorter and your Vivid Cruise swim bait. You've got your Pontoon 21 Tango prop, your Flash J Shads and your Gulp Smelly Gel. So if you want to check out the BARRA JACKS box or any of the other boxes in the range, just head to www.tackleclub.com.au, pick a box that's right for you, and welcome to the club.